Intelligent fake data? Okay, hear me out. Bogus is a fake data generator for C# that makes generating fake data for tests or building prototypes more fun and efficient. Consider this example where we have two record types. We have a property type and an address type. As you can see, the property has a reference to an address, includes an ID, has a price, the number of bedrooms and bathrooms, and the address has a street, a city, a state, and a zip code. In a real-world situation, we would have even more properties. And if we want to generate test data or fake data for building a prototype, we have to create objects and provide values and come up with combinations that make sense to the user. Here with Bogus, we simply configure fakers, in this case a faker for the address object and a faker for the property type, and use the generate method to create a property. I also serialize and put a write line statement here so we can see what the result looks like. Let's start the program. As you can see here, I get 3 different properties, including an ID, an address, and all the properties are included with values that make sense. For example, here we have a price or the number of bedrooms. Now let's take a closer look at how to configure Bogus and how to make it work. First of all, we need to configure a faker. Let's start with the address. Here we have the custom instantiator, which lets us create a new address. Here we use the constructor of the record type. We now have an instance of the faker that we can use to generate values. For example, the faker offers an address property where we can call methods such as a street address, a city name, a state name, or the zip code. For the zip code, we're also able to provide a number format. For example, here I want to have a zip code with 4 digits. In the property faker, we also have a reference to the address faker and we use the index faker. The index faker automatically increments its value whenever we create an instance of the property type. There is also a global index that we can use when we want to have an index that is globally unique across all different types. Here we also use the finance API to create an amount between 100,000 and 10 million. And we use the random object to generate a number between 1 and 4 and 1 and 3. There are even more APIs and there's a lot more. For example, we can have a person and a person has a first name, a full name, an address, an email, date of birth, and so on. There's plenty more. Experiment yourself or head over to the GitHub page where you can see all of the available APIs. Another thing that's special with using Bogus is that, let's say we use this person and we have a first name and a last name. When I also configure it to use an email address, the email address will reuse some of the information from the full name. For example, if the first name is John, the email address might be john12@gmail.com. Let's take a look at the same example implemented using classes instead of record types. Here we have the same fields, but we use classes instead of record types. The difference here is that we can use the Rule 4 API and select the field and the value as 2 different parameters to the Rule 4 method. When using record types, the custom instantiator is what we need because there is no empty public constructor available on record types. Another interesting feature of Bogus is that we can use locales. For example, I live in Switzerland and we use German as the language. When I configure the faker to use the locale DE, which stands for German, I will get a localized version of the properties generated. For example, here we have Hafenstraße or similar names, Nordrhein-Westfalen, which are typical when using the German locale. Let's get rid of it. Another interesting feature is seeding. Sometimes when implementing tests, we want to get deterministic test data, meaning we get the same test data every time we run the test. Luckily, Bogus provides an interface using the randomizer seeding that we can use to make sure that we get the same data whenever we run the application. For example, here I provide a new random value, choose a seed, and start the application. Here we see the address is Felicita Mountain and Felicity Chester in Massachusetts. When I restart the application, we will get the same result set every time. However, when I change the seed, we will get a different result set. But again, remember East Weldon, and we get the same result when I restart the application. All we need to do to make this happen is install a NuGet package called Bogus, which is available for free and was developed by Brian Chavez. It's still in active development and new versions come out every month or so. Please let me know what you think of this Bogus library to generate test data or fake data, and let me know if it was as helpful for you as it was for me when I first discovered it. It certainly helped me out when building a prototype for a client in my last project. If you want to learn more about .NET development, consider subscribing to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.